guys, today's video is going to be a first impression video, which is my favorite videos to film. You guys probably know that by now. I just get so excited every time I get a new eyeshadow palette, especially palettes. Don't get me wrong, I love trying other products too, but eyeshadow palettes is just like my true love. So today we are going to be testing out the summer palette from Fiftyfifty Makeup. I did do a video with their spring palette, which looks like this, so the packaging is basically the same on both palettes. This is the palette that I've already filmed with. It's a beautiful palette, and today we are going to try out their newest palette. So here's how the palette comes. Same packaging. This is a slip, and then on the back you have the ingredients, which you do not have the ingredients on the back of the palette. So if you want to know what the ingredients are, might want to keep this or just like keep an eye on their site. So I ordered this from their website about, I want to say a month ago, and I paid 15 euros for the palette and then 10 euros for shipping. So my total ended up being 25 euros. So shipping is quite expensive, almost the same as the palette itself, but here's what the palette looks like. So it's a beautiful color story. I'm really excited. This palette is so me. I had a really good time with their first palette. I thought that their mattes performed very well. They were nice and pigmented, nice and blendable and buildable, and their shimmers were okay. They weren't like my absolute favorites, but I'm curious to see how these are going to be. I can already tell that I'm gonna love this shimmer because this one is more of, I don't want to dig my finger into it yet because I haven't swatched it, but this is definitely more of like a metallic formula, it looks like. And then we have two kind of I wouldn't say, I don't know if they're going to be satins yet. We're just going to have to wait and see. And then this yellow down here is also a little bit shimmery. It's not like a pure matte. So let's go ahead and do some swatches with this though, because I just want to kind of feel these and see what the texture is going to be like. So I was definitely right in most of these shimmers being more satin shades. Like the first row of shimmers in this palette, like the left row right here, these are all satins. This one is a very beautiful metallic blue, which you can see like right here. That one looks stunning. This yellow is kind of weird. It's kind of like dry and it's not really like shiny, but it's also not a matte. So I would really probably only use this as an inner corner shade, maybe like the beginning of my lid shade, but I definitely prefer something more on the metallic side. Maybe I will use a topper or something on top of these because I just feel like, the shimmers aren't going to be intense enough for my liking. Like I get that a lot of people probably like more subtle shimmers, but for me, I want something that's like super metallic and pow in your face. So I do want to show you these that I got sent from ShineBySD Cosmetics. I have mentioned this brand in the past, but this is their Reserve collection, I think it's called. And all of these are kind of sheer metallic toppery. Well, metallic and toppery is kind of like the opposite, but you get what I mean. Like they're very intense and shimmery, but they're kind of sheer. So that's what I was trying to say, sheer. So these are definitely like topper shadows, but they are extremely intense. I do have a swatch picture of these on my Instagram, and I will tell you that these don't have a lot of binder in them. They are extremely dry, so they're not going to like stick to your eyes if you just swatch them or put them on your face. Like I wouldn't use these as a highlighter because they just don't really stick. Like I had a problem even getting the swatches to stick, so these definitely need some kind of a tacky base. Let me just give you like a quick example here. So I'm just going to swatch a little bit of this one so you can see on my finger, like it is very, very shiny and kind of sheer. And then when you go to swatch it, it looks really nice. But if I take a brush, like, I don't know, some kind of a flimsy brush, and I just kind of dust, like it's not going to stick. So you're gonna need some kind of a tacky base. So I think I want to use some of these shadows from this bundle along with this palette. So that's what we're going to do. So it's going to be a bit of like a double first impression. Can I show you these more accurately in the mirror maybe? I don't know, but they're extremely beautiful. Ugh, I'm so excited to test these out. Like I got these and I opened them, and every time I took one out of the packaging, one was more beautiful than the other. Like they look so stunning. And I know I've said in the past, I'm not really into like toppery shadows, but I think I can make an exception for these because they look so pretty. So let me go ahead and prime my eyes and remove the swatches from my arm. I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, and then we're gonna test out some of these shadows. I'm so excited. So I think I have a bit of a plan here. So we're just gonna go ahead and take it one color at a time and you will see what it's going to look like in the end. So I think what I'm gonna start with is I'm going to put the shade Passion Fruit into my crease. This is the magenta. Of course I wanna use that because it's basically the color of my hair and like how can I not? And I also do want to play with this green because these two are basically complementary colors, which means that they're going to contrast each other and really make each other pop, but you also don't want to blend them into each other because they are just going to blend into a bit of a brown. So I'm not going to mix them, but I am going to use this as my transition shade on the upper portion of my lid here. And then I think I'm going to put the green on my lower lash line. I think that's going to be the plan. So from what I remember using their mattes, they are very nice and pigmented and pretty easy to work with, and they also build quite well. So that's why I decided I wanted to go in with this color first and not the dark blue, even though usually dark blues tends to be a little bit tricky, but I want to really see what this blue has to offer. So this is going to be a true test for it. Normally I would for sure go in with like a dark blue before going in with this color, but we're just gonna try this and see what happens. So I'm gonna keep the shape of this quite round with this color here. You can tell I'm just placing it down and then I'm gonna go in and blend a little bit more after. Also, please go check out my friend Nikki Ravens. She is the one who got me into this brand because she is Dutch and she lives in the Netherlands, and that is where this brand is from as well. And she did a video doing eye swatches with this palette. I think she's also going to do multiple looks with this palette. I'm not really sure, but she's also done a first impression. So I will link her channel down below in my description box. You should absolutely go check her out. She is amazing. I love her so much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with a clean fluffy brush here and just blend this a little bit extra if I can find a good brush here. All my brushes are clean, so I feel like I have so many options, which is like a good thing and a little bit overwhelming as well. So I'm just gonna go in with a bit of a fluffier brush here and just use this to really diffuse this color out. So that looks really nice. I am gonna go in with just a little bit more to make sure that I intensify this right in my crease where I want this to be. And you can probably tell that I'm not taking this all the way out, and I'm also not putting it in my outer corner of my eye because I am going to go in with that dark blue. But before I do that, I want to do my lower lash line because I am going to use the green there. So this one is called Monstera, and I'm just going to use a smudging brush and basically pack that under my eye, just all the way across here. Oh, this is such a beautiful color. Like a green like this just makes me so happy. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. Oh man, this is so nice and pigmented, and it's sticking really well to my lower lash line, which is really hard for a color like this to do. You know, it would be really cool to just do like a full cut crease now and just leave it at this and do nothing on the lid. Like that would look so fun. Even doing a full cut crease and putting that yellow on my lid in more of like a winged out shape, that would be so fun too. It's not what I want to do today though, because I want to test out more of these shadows, so I'm going to save a look like that for a different day, but this shadow is making my heart so happy. Okay, so now that I have this the way that I wanted, we're going to go into the dark blue, which is called Atlantic. This one felt a little bit dry to the touch when I swatched it, so I feel like there's a chance we'll have a little bit of fallout with this, so I'm going to try to be careful. Saying that, I'm like barely tapping off my brush, but I do want most of the pigment to still be there. So I'm gonna start by packing it in the outer corner of my eye. And then I'm going to blend it into my crease ever so slightly here, as well as wing the shadow out a little bit. I might have to switch brushes for that, but I'm gonna just try to get like a quick outline here where I want this to be. And I'm also gonna take a little bit of this just on the outer corner of my lower lash line to kind of blend these colors in together and kind of have the wing extend out from my lower lash line. See, I think that looks really cool. I didn't even have to switch brushes for that, which is great. I'm not gonna take this all the way in because I do want this to be not like a soft look, but I don't want like all of my crease to be extremely dark. Just going to switch to a bit of a denser brush here so that I can get a better application on my lower lash line. I feel like this color isn't really sticking on top of that green, so I'm just going to pack it on top. I don't feel like this is probably the most buildable color. Like I definitely wouldn't build this on top of two colors, but I think on top of just the green, I'll be able to get it to stick if I'm just careful with it. And it was just one of those days where you cannot seem to get it even on both sides, and now it's looking Insane. Can I do anything to fix that? I am not sure about that. We might just have to live with this. Let's just... See, this doesn't even look good. Which is completely my fault. Don't blame this on the shadows, because it is just me having one of those days where I'm just not careful enough and I'm working a little bit too fast and being a little bit too confident. But, do I want to do anything to fix that? I mean, everything is blending beautifully in together. Maybe what I need to do is just blend a little bit extra right here. I don't know. Let's just kind of finish off with the other colors so we can see what things are looking like when it's all said and done. So what I'm going to do next is I think I want to use a little bit of the... Should I just use all of these shimmers? I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to start by taking the shade Paradise and put that in the middle of my lid. And then probably use Aquamarine, which is that beautiful metallic shade, on the rest of my lid. And then a little bit of that yellow in my inner corner. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's first go into this kind of satiny purple. I am going to just spray this with a little bit of Fix Plus here. I don't feel like really using a glitter primer is going to do much for a satin, because a satin is really just... I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's just not going to intensify something that's not able to be intensified, if that makes sense. I'm really just spraying it so that I don't get any fallout with this. So I'm placing that in the middle of my lid here and using this to blend into that blue. If there is one thing a satin is good for, it is to blend into a matte. So that's usually how I like to use satins. If I want to have a really blended look, especially in the outer corner of my eye, I find it to be very foolproof and just an easy way to get a good blend. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take my NYX glitter primer and put that on the rest of my lid, and then I'm gonna go in with that beautiful metallic shimmer, which I am so excited for. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my glitter primer just on the front portion and just blend it into the purple a little bit where I plan on layering them. So I can't believe you probably missed me applying the shadow, but I used some of my glitter primer. I'm sorry, my camera shut off and I didn't realize it. But I'm putting on that blue shade now on top of my NYX glitter primer, and look at how beautiful this is. I wish all of the shimmers in this palette were this formula. Like, honestly, that would have made this palette such a home run for me. The only complaint that I really have is that there is a lot of satins in this, which, I mean, I knew that when I bought it, but still, I'm still allowed to complain about it, you know, because I just want every palette to be perfect for what I like. That's obviously very selfish, but it is what it is. So I'm putting on quite a lot of this, as you can tell, but it's just because I want this to be nice and intense here, because I also think I want to use one of those topper shades in the front portion of this, just so we can kind of see what that looks like. Oh, but that looks so pretty. This is making me really happy. The only thing that's not making me happy is the blend that I have going on my wing on this blue, because I feel like this side is just so much more out there. And I don't really want to get this too out of hand, but I almost feel like I have to in order to even them out. But let's go ahead and finish off with the shadows before I decide if I want to try to fix that wing or not. I'm probably going to have to do something, but I do want to use one of these topper shades. So I think what I'm going to start with... Oh wait, actually, let me go into the yellow in this palette first. So I'm going to take a little bit of Soleil, and I'm going to put that in my inner corner. It is probably going to get covered up by something else, but I still want to just test it out. I'm going to spray this a little bit as well here, and just place that right in my inner corner. So I mean, that's pretty, but again, it is just a satin, so I'm not like jumping up and down with joy, you know, like I would if this was a yellow metallic, but it is really pretty, and it definitely adds a little bit extra to the look here. I really think if you are someone who's not into like the super metallic formula, you would probably really love this, because it does perform very well. And I don't have anything to complain about with the performance of the shadows, because I think that they are doing a really good job. See, like that looks so pretty. So what I want to do is, let's see, which one do I want to work with here? There's so many beautiful top. Oh, look at that. Maybe I need to take a little bit of this. I wonder if I can just spray these and not have to use a glitter glue or glitter primer, because I don't know if I want to go in with more glitter primer on my lid, because I already have one layer on. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna go ahead and spray it, and we'll see if they're going to stick to my eye. Otherwise, I might have to go in with a little bit of glitter glue. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of this shadow right here. This one is called Reserve number 6. And I am gonna go ahead and spray that, and then we're gonna put that basically on the front portion of my lid. Wow, I have like setting spray all over my mirror and I can't see anything. Let's go ahead and place a little bit of this just right here. This is probably not going to change the look too much because obviously I already have a very metallic shadow on, but I mean, you can tell just how much more intense this is making the shadow, and that is making me really happy. Like, I can just imagine this on its own with just a little bit of glitter primer. Like, that's going to be absolutely insane. But this is totally sticking to my eye with just spraying my brush, which is nice. Oh my god, that looks so good. So I do need to use a little bit of one of these yellows as well. So I'm going to take this one, which I'm guessing is Reserve 7. Yeah, because I did put them in order. Go me. I did go ahead and spray this as well, and I'm just going to place that on top of the yellow. Oh man, this is what I wanted that yellow to be like in the first place. This looks so pretty. Just gonna layer that a little bit over that blue. Oh yeah, this is my kind of eye look. Like, you can tell the difference, not only in my mood, but also just how much more intense the eye look turned out when using these shadows over the top. I do wish that I used a little bit of glitter primer with this one, because I can tell that it's falling a little bit on my face here, which, I mean, it should be easy to wipe away, but I don't want this to fall off my eyes during the day because I want it to stay there because it's so pretty. So I love this. I do want to just kind of try to fix that blue a little bit though. I'm just kind of thinking about how I'm gonna do that. I feel like it's just a little bit right here that needs to be blended. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish off my eyes. This looks so good. I'm so obsessed. Oh, I love this. Okay, let's see. What do I want to do? I think I'm just gonna do some green in my waterline, and then I'll do some liner and mascara. I'll come back. We can do my face together because I haven't done that yet. I'll probably put on a lipstick, but let me just finish off the eyes and then we can put on some more makeup. Okay, so the eyes are done, and like I said, I put some green in my waterline. I used Gotcha by LA Girl. I don't love this green, but it's okay as long as you kind of warm it up and kind of paint it on your hand a little bit before you go into your waterline. Let's see, what else did I do? I put on Oh Snap by Colourpop. It's one of the lippy sticks. I just wanted something more on the neutral side because I do want to go pretty heavy on the face makeup. All I have on is a little bit of cream products under my powder. I also, of course, have some freckles on. But let me just show you what I'm wearing just so I don't forget, so I can link it in my description box. So I'm wearing the cream bronzer by Fenty. This is in the shade Macchiato. And then for my blush, I'm wearing one of the Ritual de Feel. I always say that wrong. I don't know if it's right this time either, but this is one of their cream blushes in the shade Rapture. And so what I want to do with my blush today is I want to go pretty heavy on my blush. I don't think I want to put on any more bronzer. So I'm going to use one of my blush Subtil blushes from Lancome. This one is in the shade Smile and Blush. It is one of my favorites. And I do want to be quite heavy with this. So I'm going to start like on the top of my cheek here because I want to kind of do a little bit of blush draping with this. So I want most of my pigment to be in this area right here, which is why I'm really packing this on and blending it into my hairline. And then as I'm going down, I'm going to start fading out what I have left on my brush here. Oh, isn't that just the most beautiful kind of luminous glowy blush that you've ever seen? I really enjoy doing my freckles first and then putting like the rest of my makeup on top of them because I feel like it makes them look a lot more natural and real, I guess. And I'm definitely going to blush my nose today because with a very blush heavy look, how can I not, you know? And then I think for my highlighter, I want to use one of my Bitter Lace Beauty highlighters. It's been a little while since I've used that, and I have a beautiful pink one that I absolutely love. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is from their Candy Coated collection. Bitterless Beauty is a Las Vegas based brand, which I just think it's so awesome because I live in Vegas and they are also half black owned. One of the owners is black. So I'm gonna go in with the shadow right here, which is called Cupcake Crush. I don't know why I always say shadow when I talk about highlighters. I feel like I do that all the time. But like the pan still looks like an eyeshadow, you know? So I'm gonna use this on my Refer number 16 brush, which is one of my favorites for highlighting. And I'm just gonna go ham with this. I'm also going to put a little bit of this on my brow bone. I feel like maybe a yellow highlighter would have looked better with this look, but you know what? I don't really care. So let's see, what do I want to do? I think I'm gonna go back over that blue just on the outer corner a little bit to make sure that you can't really see the highlighter that I put over the top. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of blue on my brush here and just kind of layer that over. And I'm also taking a bit of that highlighter and just putting that right up here. I don't know why, but I've like really come around to brow bone highlights lately. Something that I used to never do, but like it's kind of fun. I don't know, I always just saw people using the most basic shades as brow bone highlights and it made me kind of get put off from it because I just didn't feel like it would go with my eye looks. But now that I realized I have so many fun highlighters that I can use to highlight my brow bone with, all of a sudden it just became like a fun thing to do. So I think this is going to be the look all done. I'm not sure how I feel about the lip with this look, but I just don't really feel like I can be bothered changing it. So I'm gonna call this the look. As for my thoughts on the palette and the shadows that I used, I think that it performed really, really well for what it is. Obviously, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of satins, and given that there are 3 satins in here, these don't really do it for me on their own, but like top with these other shadows, holy crap, they're so beautiful. So I'm not really even hating on it now that I have these toppers. This is something that I never really thought I would get into because I'm just not really a topper kind of person. And I also think it has a lot to do with like being on YouTube, because I feel like a lot of the time when I'm reviewing something, like I want to use that one product on its own so that I can take pictures after and post on Instagram, because I feel kind of bad if I like use a product and then I use something else along with it if it's something that I've reviewed, because then the brand is gonna be like, well, I guess our shadows weren't good enough if you needed something else on top. I don't know, I'm probably overthinking it, but like these are so beautiful. I would highly recommend you guys check out ShineBySD Cosmetics because they are an amazing black-owned brand that I want all of their stuff now because I'm so impressed by everything that I have from them. Now, I only have shimmer shadows. I don't even know if they do mattes yet, but I hope that they are going to start doing that if they aren't already, because their quality is so good. Like, these are incredible. So highly recommend these. I think that if you are interested in the palette and you don't mind having satin shades in this, you will love this. This green, it's such a good lime green, especially for like the price of this palette. Like, this is a very affordable palette. And also this shimmer down here is beautiful. So I don't know, Fiftyfifty is just one of those brands that I feel like I just like what they do. I really like their aesthetic. I like the fact that they donate 50% of their profits to charity, which is why they are called Fiftyfifty Makeup. And I like that they are a European-based indie brand, which there just aren't really that many of. So yeah, that's gonna be it for my thoughts and for my look and for hanging out with me, I guess. So thank you so much as always for spending your time with me. I love you guys so much. If you want to see some other first impression videos, here's a few more. And if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.